All right, as everyone knows, great news. Devin Haney versus George Kambosos is all set for June 5th for the Undisputed Lightweight Championship of the World. And during this whole process of Kambosos figuring out who he was going to make his first defense of his lightweight titles, we had Lomachenko in the mix, we had Ryan Garcia, we had Gervonta Davis, and we had Devin Haney. It looked like for a while Lomachenko was going to be the front runner, but the whole Ukraine situation came about, and we all know what happened there. But there were a lot of people really putting the pressure on Devin Haney and criticizing him and questioning whether or not he was going to take this fight. And he was being accused of pricing himself out of this fight, not wanting to go to Australia, the issue with him working with Hearn and having most of his fights on DAZN. That was also put up there as a potential roadblock for this fight happening. But Devin Haney answered all the questions and silenced all the doubters and naysayers. And he's betting on himself for greatness here. He's taking the road and going down that path, right, to become undisputed. So this is a boss move, in my opinion, for Devin Haney. And shout out to Eddie Hearn, who encouraged the move, even though that the fight is going to be on ESPN. The rematch, if Devin Haney were to win, is also going to be on ESPN because Lou DiBella and Top Rank are working together now with Kambosos. They basically have a partnership, sort of like how Top Rank has that partnership with Frank Warren. This is nothing new in boxing. We see sometimes promoters team up to work with certain fighters. They have co-promotional deals. And the situation is the same right now for George Kambosos. Lou DiBella, realizing that he doesn't have a network deal, and obviously Top Rank does have that network deal with ESPN. So he did what was best for his fighter. And this was a great move now. So the way this is being reported is that Devin Haney will fight in Australia, and there's a rematch clause. And if Devin Haney wins and has to fight George Kambosos again, which he will have to do, which is contracted, unless he decides to move up to 140, right? So the rematch would have to be in Australia, right? And Devin Haney basically has a 3-fight deal with Top Rank in order for this deal to work. So the way this whole thing could play out, let's throw some scenarios out there. So if Devin Haney beats George Kambosos twice, right, he'll still be obligated to have to fight that third fight with Top Rank and has to be on ESPN. That opens the door for Lomachenko, or even if he were to move up, he could fight Teofimo Lopez. Say Josh Taylor vacates the titles at 140 and Teofimo Lopez picked up a vacant title at 140. Then you have Devin Haney versus Teofimo Lopez at 140 if he were to beat George Kambosos twice, right? So this is a guy, 23 years old, who really made a boss move. And you got to give credit to everyone involved here. You got to give credit to Lou DiBella for realizing that, you know, he had to make a power move here, and he had to work with Top Rank in order to get his fighter exposure on a network. In order to be involved in a network deal, ESPN's a powerhouse. We already know that, right? So credit to Lou DiBella for having the the sense and the presence of mind, basically, to know, hey, you know what? The only way we're going to have to get this done, and we're going to have great options for George Kambosos, is we got to have to work with someone else who has a network deal. So shout out to Lou DiBella for getting that done, and shout out to Eddie Hearn as well, because he encouraged Devin Haney to take this deal because there was really no one else out there for Devin Haney to fight. If he were to stay on DAZN, who would he have fought? Ryan Garcia probably wouldn't have fought him, right? What other lightweights are there on DAZN's platform that would have been worth Devin Haney's while, right? So in order to get this done, he's got a 3-fight deal with Top Rank. And then after those 3 fights are over, he can go right back to Eddie Hearn. And Eddie Hearn believes that that could possibly be the case, right? So a lot of the talk about how fighters are in situations that aren't their fault, and it's their promoter's fault, and it's the network's fault. And Devin Haney proved that a fighter can take charge of his career, right? And if he wants the big fights, then he can go out and get those big fights, which he did. He made a boss move. Something now let's see what Gervonta Davis does moving forward. If he's willing to make a boss move like Devin Haney did, right? Let's see what Ryan Garcia does. If he puts pressure on his promoter to get him a big fight, right? Let's see what happens there, because it looks like these titles could be held up for a while, right? So if Devin Haney beats George Kambosos, which I believe he will, I think he's favored, and I feel pretty confident saying I think he's going to beat George Kambosos. Then I'll have to fight him again, right? So that'll be almost a year tied up, right? What are these other guys going to do? Is Gervonta Davis gonna fight a Ryan Garcia, right? Is he going to fight another top lightweight, right? Or are they gonna just sit back and do what the middleweights and the super middleweights are doing right now? David Benavidez and Jamar Charlo, are they gonna just sit back and wait for Canelo, right? And take these fights that no one really wants to see against guys that everyone knows that they're gonna beat? Shout out to Sly Tendencies. He says, "Good morning, homie. Is this a lock for Haney?" I think so. I think style-wise, I think Haney presents a lot of problems for George Kambosos. I really do. So, yeah, let's see what these two guys do, right? Devin Haney could accomplish more, right, in this year, right? If he beats him in June and then he has to fight him again in December, he'll accomplish more in this 1 year than Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis have accomplished their whole careers. So he can do more in 1 year than these guys have done in their whole careers. This right here could be a life changer for Devin Haney. This could arguably put him on the pound for pound list. Possibly. And I'm not really a pound for pound guy, but again, people talk about who the best fighter in the world is, and Devin Haney, possibly, if he was to beat George Kambosos twice, become undisputed at lightweight, he could be put on that list, because we saw that Teofimo Lopez was put on that list after he beat Loma. Now imagine, let's play out this whole scenario. And again, these are all what ifs. Say Devin Haney beats George Kambosos twice. Then he goes into a match with Vasyl Lomachenko, right? I'm sure Vasyl Lomachenko will probably have an interim bout when the whole Ukraine situation is squared away and rectified, right? So imagine if he beats Kambosos twice, then he goes and beats Lomachenko. 23 years old. He'll be 24 if he were to beat Loma by the time that fight came around. Imagine 24 years old having all that on your resume, becoming undisputed at lightweight, right? And then beating a legend like Lomachenko, definitely going to be a Hall of Fame fighter. What does that say for the rest of the guys? What does that say for these other guys who seem to be just fighting fights that nobody wants to see, right? Tank Davis fighting Raleigh Romero. And again, let him do whatever he wants. That's fine. Let him do whatever he wants. But once again, will Ryan Garcia fight a guy like Joseph Diaz Jr., right? Will he fight a guy like Isaac Cruz, right? Will he fight a guy like Richard Comey? Will Gervonta Davis fight any of those guys? Javier Fortuna, right? Will any of those guys be thrown around in the mix? Or will they just be fighting the Raleigh Romeros of the world, right? Or the to-goes of the world, right? So there's been a lot of criticism heaped on Devin Haney, and it's fine. People have the right to have their own opinions. They have a right to their own opinion. But again, the proof is in the pudding, man. Look at what Devin Haney is doing compared to what these other guys are doing, right? Now the pressure is on these guys, because Tank Davis can have a rematch with Isaac Cruz, right? We could see what happens with Joseph Diaz Jr. But again, who's over at PBC, right? At lightweight, who do they have over at PBC, right? Who do they have? I'm sure Tank could fight Richard Comey. I mean, that fight will be available. That fight's still on the table, but he couldn't fight a guy like Joseph Diaz Jr. He wouldn't be able to fight a guy like Fortuna probably, because again, this whole thing. Let's see what Tank does. He's got one fight left with Mayweather Promotions, right? You got the Raleigh Romero fight coming up. Let's see what he does. Let's see what he does next. Let's see if he re-signs with Mayweather Promotions, right? Let's just see what he does. And let's see what Ryan Garcia does if he fights a Richard Comey or a Joseph Diaz Jr. after beating to go. Let's see what happens, right? No one can talk. None of these guys can say anything to Devin Haney right now. None of them. No one can talk shit. And I'm sure Tank's got to be looking at this and saying to himself, this division is passing me by. I'm 28 years old, right? Devin Haney's got his own promotional company, and Sly Tendencies is 100% right. He is calling his own shots. I agree with that. Can't question that. Can't take anything away from him with that. He's definitely calling his own shots. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Yeah, how you doing? So listen, man. Everybody's going against George Kambosos, bro. I think Kambosos, he's bigger than David Haney. Um, David Haney gets tapped by fighters, man. Even faded fighters have put their hands on him. Thank you for letting me come in anyway.
No problem, brother.
Thank you. Um,
Well,
he's been getting tapped by world class fighters. And also this guy is real strong. He's big. He's fighting in under his crowd. He's getting paid very well. He's been matched hard, and he's done good. He he beat the best fighter in the division, which was Teofimo Lopez. I mean, tore his face up, made him look like he been went. I mean, he beat him bad, man. Okay, and Teofimo had injuries and all that, but he didn't even left the division. His father is aggressive, and his father they gave up on this fight and went to 140. So what if I was Cambosos, George Killer Cambosos, bro? That's the nickname you gotta give him. You gotta call him George Killer Cambosos because that's the guy. Killer Cam is he beat a lot of fighters. He beat Mickey Bay. Mickey Bay was never the same after that. Started training fighters after he beat him. He Lee Selby's never been the same after he beat Killer Cambosos. Now look at Teofimo. I don't even think Teofimo is gonna be the same after for Killer Cambosos. Cambosos is fast. He's aggressive. He stays in the pocket with you. He has fast hands, man, and he's not afraid to tap. Now Haney, who Haney fought? He fought Jorge Linares, a guy that got knocked out by several fighters. Um, Linares was could have hurt him and didn't follow up on it. He fought this guy that is number one contender now again. He stopped him, the Russian guy. I don't know if that fight's gonna take over because of sanctions. Um, he won on a life or death fight with Gamboa. I mean, let's be for real. And then the only guy that he fought that was pretty good, he got injured. He hurt his shoulder, and then that's when all the debate came that they're stripping for his belt. So that Dominican guy. So now, if he's gonna go take this fight, I think the kid has been hyped up wrong. I think the kid's been misled. Um, He's gonna take this fight. Yeah, he's crying about the money. All I hear, everybody in all the other podcasts is crying about money. This guy wants to make money. He's lucky he's getting to fight Kambosos, man. The guy that should be asking for big dollars is Kambosos. He's the unified champion. He's the real 135 pound champ, and he should also talk to his people and see if they could tell Josh Taylor to hold those belts at 140 if he could still do it. And after he beats Haney, fight for the unified championship at 140. Something that Usyk did, because I think this kid he could whip. This kid is big enough, fast enough, skilled enough to beat a Josh Taylor. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know
Wow.
what it is, huh?
So you like Camp? You're pretty high on
Yo,
Camposis right now.
okay, but look at Campos' resume, man. Look at Campos. Let's be for real. I don't know why everybody's on Haney shit. Haney backed
Haney's a
up.
good
Yo,
boxer, though. Haney's is a
so
good
what?
boxer.
So he gotta go. Okay, he could box. He could box. So what? So what? He's not more skilled than Shakur Stevenson. Oh, if when those guys
Suleiman,
come back,
you know what we should do? You want to have a friendly pie bet on this fight? I'll take Devin Haney. You take Camposis.
now because I don't know how, because I'm at work. How am I gonna do that, man?
No, do that. What happens? This is what happens. This is what the pie bet is.
Okay.
Let me explain. Let me explain to you the pie bet. So after the fight happens on June 5th, right?
Mhm.
If George Camposis wins, I have to go on camera and stick a pie in my face, right?
Okay.
Now, if Devin Haney wins, you have to just go on camera and just stick a pie in your face. Could be any day you want to do it. Like say one Sunday you're not working or whatever.
I don't want to let you down, because you know what it is, man. I'm working, and I work a lot of hours. I don't know if I could do that.
All right.
But I'll make a bet with you.
I respect
I'll make a bet
it.
with you. I'll eat the crow. But I'm just looking at the stats, man. I mean,
yeah, you work a lot of hours. You don't have free time.
Okay.
You may not
look
have
at Camboso. Camboso for Teoformo. Okay, let's be for real. You think Haney could beat Teoformo even now with the loss? I think you have a life and death fight with the Teoformo right now. Well, if Haney fought Lopez right now, he probably gets stopped. Okay,
let's break this down. Who's the faster of the two fighters? Who has more speed?
That's a suspect, bro. I know you're gonna say Haney. I say Cambosos. Cambosos got fast. I seen him training. He got fast hands. He got strength. He's gonna stay in the middle with him. He could box. He could do it all, man. He got all the skill. I say he got the power. He could box. He got the confidence. Okay.
Who has more power? Because Devin Haney's got more knockouts. He got 15 knockouts. George Cambosos has 27 fights, only got like 6 knockouts.
Okay, but who fought better fighters? Who fought better fighters? Look at Josh
that's
Warrington.
Teofimo Lopez is the is a great fighter.
Josh Warrington got 7 knockouts, something like that, right?
6 knockouts, 7 knockouts.
Yeah, something like. But Josh Warrington, he could fight. He hit hard. He rocked Carl Frampton. It's like when you get to the levels, when you get to those high levels, that
hard to knock guys out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to knock guys out. Look at Kiko. Kiko broke that man's jaw. He broke Josh Warrington's jaw, and Josh Warrington still stopped him. Because when you get to that level, man, that world class level, it's very hard to. Those guys are very cagey. They know how to fight. Remember, that's their 9 to 5. They don't got full-time job. That 9 to 5 is boxing. They eat, they talk, they sleep boxing. Those guys go to the gym, they prepare, they eat right. Look at Kiko. Kiko's running on a bicycle after he got stitched up. Kiko, I don't think Kiko's gonna be tired, man. Kiko was winning that fight. If that guy would have said they would have found that he had a broken jaw, they would have stopped the fight. Okay, and to tell you the truth, Josh Warrington got lucky, he got that fight, because I don't know what kind of key did that they put him in there to fight. But
Kiko called him out. Kiko wanted the rematch.
Oh, Kiko wanted to fight because
he wanted it.
Because this guy's pissed off. Mauricio Lara, I hear he's flipping pissed because he says that that's his belt. So I don't know how. Is he the number 1 contender for the IBF? Mauricio Lara?
I'm not sure, but he's got to be up there. He's got to be up there. He's got to be in the mix right now.
Because Mauricio Lara, I mean, his defense is suspect, and this kid got a lot of punishment in these fights. I don't know if he could pull it off against this Warrington's on fire, man. He's on fire.
You like Warrington, huh?
Yeah, I don't know, but the guys I like Warrington because Warrington is aggressive. You see, he was hurt, man. And that's the same thing with Cambosos. Cambosos went through hell, man, when he fought Teofimo, bro. And this is what people gotta understand that I don't know why are they picking Devin over what's your opinion on that? Why are they picking Devin over Cambosos? Can you explain to me why is they
In my
have the Devin?
opinion, when you look at Devin Haney, right, and you just watch him fight, he's very quick. He's a good boxer. He's got good defense, right? He had a shaky moment against Linares, but he came back, took the punch well, came back from it. I think when you just look at Devin Haney, he's got a long reach. He's really good boxer from the outside. He knows how to move. He's got decent punching power. When you watch him fight, he has a lot of good athletic traits. He's just a very skilled fighter, right? He's disciplined. Um, he doesn't fight recklessly. When he gets hurt, he regains his composure. I just think I think he's a well-rounded, skilled fighter, right? I just think that, you know, uh,
So what makes you think that compared to Cambosos, what makes you think that Killer Cambosos is not the same quality or better? Killer Cambosos, I think
I
he could
seen,
do what Devin, and I think he could do more because in that fight with Teofimo, he did much more. He did
yeah,
much more. He was
I seen Cambosa's fight against Mickey Bay. It was a very close fight. The Lee Selby fight was kind of competitive, more competitive than I anticipated. George Kambosos is not a bad fighter. I just think Devin's better. I think Devin's more explosive. I think he's quicker. I think he hits harder. Uh, Kambosos may be uh, more physically stronger than Devin Haney on the inside because you said he is a big guy. He's a pretty decent inside fighter. I think he's going to have to get close to Devin Haney and go to the body a lot and take Devin Haney's legs away and try to slow him down. But if Devin Haney has space and he's allowed to stick and move and pot shot and counter punch, then he could pick him apart. He could pick him apart. See, Devin Haney's
well,
a very, very patient, very
okay.
methodical fighter.
Okay, we know he got a rematch clause with Devin Haney, right?
Yes.
So now, if he beats Devin Haney on this fight, right? What how you see what could because I know what Camboso wants to do. Camboso want to be the pound for pound, the next pound. He want to be up there. He knows that Manny Pacquiao's not there. You know all these guys.
He wants to be in
That
big
they
fights. He wants to be in
yeah
big fights.
yeah you're right. And all these other guys are the pretenders. Like this guy's fighting for B class belt. His contract is expiring. Javante Davis. You know
Yeah.
they don't want to be the upper echelon. This guy really wants to be the upper. He don't want to be the hype. So let's say if he upsets Haney, right? What you see is his next opponent. Is he gonna go try to get a Josh Taylor fight? Do you
Well,
think would that make him the next star, the next Canelo like Australian? Because
well,
I think that.
here's the thing, Suleiman. So Lou DiBella is his promoter,
Mhm.
and now he just signed a co-promotional deal with Top Rank. So Cambosis is working with Top Rank and Lou DiBella. So, like you said, he could either fight Lomachenko after he would beat Devin Haney, or he could fight Josh Taylor. But if
He's
Josh
big,
Taylor
man.
moves to 147, we don't like Josh Taylor's probably going to 147 in his next
Yeah,
fight.
but you think he didn't relinquish the belts yet? Maybe
No, he hasn't decided. He hasn't said he hasn't officially done that yet. But
because when I
he's
hear Camboso's talking, Camboso wanna be a Canelo. He got the Canelo blueprint in his head. He wants to make the Canelo money.
I believe
All
you.
these guys want to make that. Even Josh Taylor, even Josh Wilmington, when he's talking, Josh Wilmington want to make the Canelo money. I don't know if he's gonna do it at featherweight division,
All right,
but when
but
these guys, mm,
we got to give Devin Haney credit too, though, because he's going over to Australia to fight this guy. He's agreeing that if he beats him, I'll fight him again in his backyard twice.
he's
And
going to be great.
he's got that third fight with Top Rank, and I'm sure Top Rank is going. If he were to beat Kambosos twice, Top Rank would definitely try to match him up with Lomachenko, right? Or Teofimo Lopez. So this kid, both guys are daring to be great. Whereas you got Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis, they haven't shown us anything
Because what is that these guys want to have the Canelo Alvarez options. Like for example, like if
Yeah.
Cambosos beats this guy, he want to go and try to unify up at 140, and then want to have options at 135 too for Lomachenko, because I don't think Lomachenko is going to do 140. Yeah, I don't think
No, he said he
Lomachenko.
wouldn't. He said he can't do
Okay,
it. He said it's too
so
big.
so in order to get the Lomachenko fight, he's gonna have to get the 140 belts, relinquish them, right, and go back
Yeah.
down to 135, or unless he wants a rematch with Teofimo.
Look at
And with
these.
Teo,
Look at these odds, Suleiman. Devin Haney is a minus 280. George Camposis is a plus 220. Devin Haney is almost a 3-1 favorite. Devin
okay,
Haney
but
is almost a 3-1
how could
favorite in
how
this
could you
fight.
make those odds like that? The guy's going to Australia. He's going to a
I know.
place
Hey,
he's not acclimated. He's not acclimated to Australia, right?
yeah.
The guy that's acclimated to Australia is the champion, and they treated him like he's the A class, the apex. You know what I'm saying? The apex fighter there, man. I
Well,
don't understand that.
well, Campos is definitely the A side in this promotion because he's got the home court advantage. I mean, he's going to be making more money, so he's calling the shots here. DeBella's calling the shots, so Campos is in a great position right here. Devin Haney's got everything working against him. He's
So
gonna have to.
if he upsets this guy, he's gonna be like Usyk in the rematch, right? They're gonna have to pay him much more. Camboso's gonna have to get paid more. He's gonna and then I don't think he's gonna give him a rematch if he beats him. He's gonna go for the big guy, for Josh Taylor. Everybody when they saw what Josh Taylor did with this other guy, he's beatable, man. He's beatable. He's beatable. What
Everybody's gonna want a piece of Josh Taylor now, bro.
He's beatable because this guy, if he jumps up at 140, I think he could handle Josh Taylor, man. I think he could handle Josh Taylor. He got the speed, he got the confidence. You see the confidence that kid got? I don't know how the odds makers are going against his confidence, man. Who makes these odds? Huh? Because that stuns me, man.
Las Vegas makes the odds, man. The sports books over in Las Vegas.
Hey, they have a professional background, those guys? Because I'm shocked. I thought Cambosos would be the top guy, the top pick right there.
You Here's the thing, man. And no disrespect, but you're going off of one fight. One fight. I mean, Mickey Bay. He was past his
Yeah,
prime. Lee
but
Selby
he
was
fought.
past his prime.
Yeah, but he fought Mickey Bay. He looked nice, man. You didn't see how he fought Mickey Bay?
It was a close fight, man. It was
But
tough.
he looked fancy, man. That the thing with Camboso is he's gonna have to make people believe it. If he beats this guy, I think that's what he wants. He wants to make you believe that he's the big boy. So he's
Is
gonna go
this
to Josh.
is this the halo effect right now? We're just looking at that fight with Teofimo Lopez, and we're just saying that are we putting too much hype now on Cambosos because of that one fight? Because we did the same thing with Teofimo Lopez after he beat Lomachenko, and then he
Yep.
goes and fights Cambosos, and look what happened there. Could
That
Cambosos be a one-hit wonder? Right? Sort of
well,
like
he's
how Teofimo
disciplined, man.
Lopez was.
He's disciplined. He's working out. He's disciplined. You see that
I
the
don't know.
training tape because I think Teofimo, what happened is I think his father had a lot to do with it, man, with
His
that
father
loss
screwed him
because
up, huh?
he lost by split decision, man. He's like another Danny Garcia. He only lost by split decision, man. He fought his heart out, but I think his father how you call it, got caught slacking, bro. He got slacking on his training. Yeah, he started doing shortcuts, and it caught up with the kid. And then same thing with Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is not washed up, man. He got only a couple of split decision losses, bro. The only guy that he lost by unanimous decision was Errol Spence. So they think about putting him with this guy. What do you think about that? They think about putting him with Kell Brook. What do you think about that fight?
Kell Brook and Danny Garcia. I think it's a
Yeah,
very interesting fight, man.
but you
Very
think you
interesting
think
fight.
you think Danny Garcia could stop that guy? I think Danny Garcia has too much power for him, man.
Danny's a big puncher, man. Danny's a big puncher. But Danny's a mid-range guy. Kell Brook's kind of a mid-range to outside guy. It'd be an interesting fight, man. I think it's almost a pick 'em, but probably have to favor Danny in that fight. But I think I would pick Kell Brook to win. I would pick Kell Brook to win that fight. I'll tell you why. Because Kell Brook, I think, is probably quicker than Danny Garcia, right? I think he hits just as hard, maybe if not harder, right? He's got a great right hand. Danny Garcia likes to throw that left hook. So if he's opening up that left hook, right, you throw that straight right as Danny's
But
throw it right down the pike as Danny's. It's going to be the left hand. To be the left hook versus the right hand. Right hand can get there before the left hook can get there, right?
so
And
he's kind
Danny,
of chinny though. He's kind of
yeah,
chinny. Danny's not. He's chinny. Danny's not.
yeah.
That's the
Danny's
question.
Danny's more durable. I'll give you that. Danny's probably got more stamina too. It's a very intriguing fight.
Because that
Very
fight that he
intriguing
fought
fight.
Terence Crawford, when he fought Terence Crawford, he didn't look that bad. One punch changed the whole outlook of the
One
fight.
punch changed the whole fight. Yeah.
Okay.
Centurion son asked me. He says, "You think Haney will give Loma a shot?" Well, I mean, he's top rank. He has a 3-fight deal with top rank, Devin Haney. So that third fight, they're going to put pressure on him to fight either Loma or probably Tiafimo. So I don't think they're going to give him a gimme in that third fight.
But you don't think he's gonna be stressed out, Lomachenko? I don't think Lomachenko right now psychologically is prepared to
What
fight.
about Usyk versus Joshua in the rematch? How do
Even
you think?
him, Usyk, bro, Usyk is very courageous. He got the permission, but in my opinion, um, the way things are going over there and the way the media is talking, because I'm hearing different opinions. But like I heard an interview, they saying that the Russians are saying this is uh, a liberation operation, liberation operation in Ukraine. They accusing them of a whole bunch of stuff and corruption, right? And they say that the Ukrainians signed a contract with the Russians for them to dictate a government. Okay, this is what the Americans are avoiding. They're not saying that they have signed a contract with Russia, the Ukraine, that that Russia has is a superpower and they have control over how they dictate the government of the Ukraine. So then this is a topic that that nobody's talking about. You know what I'm saying? So they try to work back and forth, but this guy he got too he become too friendly with the Americans. That's what they said. This new president,
Zelensky,
and
yeah.
yeah, and he was trying to be another Trump, and that's what created him. They had no choice but to come in and try to remove him because they say they're not gonna be. They don't want to kill the guy, but they want to remove him from power. That's all. And then the mortality rate that they're claiming, those are rushing back Ukrainians because the problem is that not only is it psychological, you're fighting somebody is trying to take over your country, but their propaganda is saying that they're liberating. It's a liberation operation. So you're getting mind jammed by a lot of different ways. So I don't think Usyk should fight right now, man. I don't think
Yeah.
Usyk should fight, and a lot of people are saying he's not really fighting in the front lines either. He's hiding in some bunker, you know, because he's a unified champion. You're gonna put a unified champion to get shot like that? Because none of our champions, when they were in the war times, like Sugar Ray Robinson or Joe Louis, they were out there meeting the troops, hanging high, but they wasn't in the front lines. So I don't think, in my opinion, Usyk is he's too much. He's too important for that country for him to be even Lomachenko. Even though he don't got a world title right now, those guys should not. I don't know how what they're doing to getting involved. Yeah, and we haven't heard. You haven't even noticed? I haven't heard anything about any of the Russian world champions. None of the Russian world champions like Alexander Povetkin. None of these guys have. I mean, I'm talking about in the American media. We haven't heard nothing. No
Well,
commentary.
Dmitry Bivol, who's fighting
Uh-huh.
Canelo, he said he wants peace. He doesn't want to talk too much about it or go get involved in the politics of the situation. But he came out and said he wants peace.
He wants peace, but the problem with him is that he's not a Russian. He's not.
That's
He
a good
he
point. Yeah,
he's not
yeah,
a Russian. But I'm talking about like a real Russian,
like
like
full
a
blooded. Yeah,
like a
yeah.
full-blooded Russian, like a Alexander Povetkin, like a even remember the one that used to be a soldier, the one that knocked out Roy Jones at cruiserweight.
Oh, what
Lebedev.
the hell is his
He,
name? Yeah.
Dennis Lebedev.
Dennis
He's
Lebedev.
retired.
Yeah. Lebedev. Yeah, the
So
cruiserweight. Yeah.
even though he's an ex-champion, he's quite tired probably, but he used to be like a bodybuilder. So these guys are you don't have nothing about their commentary. But what I heard was that even the sanctions that Joe Biden did, because in liquid cash alone, he took $400 billion from Russia. Those Russians are saying over there that that they used to the sanctions from the Western countries and they're not starving, that they're doing very well. And then the mortality rate that the Americans exaggerating is Ukrainian Russian back Ukrainians that are dying. It's not it's like Ukrainian against Ukrainian, man. It's like you're from the Bronx and you're fighting a guy from Parks Road,
So you're
you
a
know?
very smart, individual, and you're looking at this whole thing objectively, and you're not listening to the American propaganda. Because
No,
everyone's sitting there saying, and again, this is no disrespect to Ukraine or anything. Everyone's saying, oh, Ukraine can win this war. It's impossible for Ukraine to win this war.
you're fighting a
You're fighting a
superpower.
superpower.
And then on top of that, the weapons that they're using right now are the weapons that the Russian-backed Ukrainians are using, because they're not using smart missiles. The missiles that they're using, because remember, they were saying that the MiGs that the Polish guys got, right? Each MiG is $47 million, right? They're saying that Ukraine could have joined NATO 10 years ago, right? But they had a contract with Russia that Russia could help them in the government. Okay, and this is to show you
Russia
this.
Russia
Mhm.
basically has a major impact on their military, basically.
Yeah,
So
it is
from what
common
I've
sense
heard,
because
yeah,
look at this. Look at them. Mhm.
from what I've heard is Russia there's a limit. Russia has imposed a limitation on how much they can militarize their country. So that's I think what you're kind of getting at.
Yeah,
And
what's funny is like they have a contract, right, with for planes, right, with Russia, right?
mm,
They intentionally, I mean, how you gonna bite the hand that feed you, right?
yeah,
They bought the MiGs from Russia, right?
mm,
Those MiGs, right? They got trained by Russians to fly those planes, right? Um, the problem with the Russians is the complaint they have. They said that the Russian people, the Russian people that move there, are treated like second-class citizens, right? And then the Donbass areas, those two areas, that's where the oil was found. The oil that they have is from the Donbass areas, right? So those people, their pet peeve is like, um, we have the oil. I mean, why they don't work something out with them? They want their independence. Work something out with them. This is the problem with them. You know what I'm saying? Something's wrong there that is not working there. And then the wheat production that they have, something's
they're
wrong
the,
there.
they're the largest exporter of wheat
Of wheat in that area.
in the
Mhm.
world. In the world, it's Suleiman. In the world, they export. And if you look at food, almost everything we eat has wheat in it.
Yep.
Bread, pasta,
Cookies,
cookies, cakes, cereals, all this
pizza.
stuff has wheat in it. Sauces, you know, even these
And they were saying even
protein
the fodder for the animals, we get the fodder from the
fertilizer,
animals from
yeah,
them. Yeah. So
fertilizer.
what I'm trying to say is that something's wrong there. The Ukrainian is not he's not giving he's making himself a victim because something is wrong that he has to explain himself. And then we're not even the Russian side. You got a lot of world champions that are Russian. Why are they not saying something? Why our media is not showing us? Sergey Kovalov is a Russian. He was a great Russian. He fought Canelo, right? How come he's not saying nothing? He's or the media's not saying nothing. You know, you got all these other fighters, the Belarusian guys, fighting. I mean, I just want to hear their opinion because what I heard from their opinion is that this guy, the first thing he did, he came out with sanctions. He took $400 billion in liquid from them, and that's not including the other stuff, right? Uh, the fighter plane that the Poland had is 47 million a piece, right? So they don't want to pay for the planes. They want America to supply them with the Polish people to supply them with a plane.
Yeah,
So
but
how is
the
that?
reason why the U.S. is giving them weapons is because of the military-industrial complex. They want to make money off of selling them weapons. They're not going to ask them for the money now, but they're going to ask
But they're
them
gonna
for the
get
money later,
it
and they're going to
later.
make
Okay.
money off that. And that's number one. Number two, they don't want Russia, because they have the pipeline for the oil that goes through Ukraine and it supplies the rest of Western Europe. They're trying to stop that because they don't want the Western countries to be dependent on Russia. All right. And they also want to militarize that border so they can keep an eye on Russia. Russia's not going to allow any of that stuff to happen.
So how many borders you gonna militarize? You got the NATO is all over the place there. NATO is in you and remember every country that's involved in NATO is 3 to 5% of their GDP. Okay, Estonia, all these countries. The only country that's
But think about this. When you look at Asia, you look at China and India. Those are the two most largely populated countries in the world, right?
Mhm.
NATO basically is there for the military-industrial complex. NATO's a business because it's there so they could sell weapons to for weapons to countries. They make money off the weapons.
They're getting 3
There's
to
no
5%.
need. There's no to have NATO. When the NATO was created to protect the Western world against Soviet Union. Soviet Union is not there anymore. So why is NATO still around? Because it's a money maker for the countries, so they can sell weapons to the bigger countries who are in NATO, can sell weapons to the smaller countries, and they make money. It's a business.
Yep, but right around the corner is Russia, and Russia's go selling the weapons probably for cheaper. I don't understand that.
Russia's selling Iran, China, and India the weapons, and what is China doing for? And China is helping Russia out. China is helping Russia out, funding them and buying the oil. India and China are buying the oil from Russia, right? And then and they're not using American. The deal was they're supposed to use American money if they buy.
And I heard that the Saudis are buying the oil from the Russians on the water. They make the deal on the water, and they take the tanker and they flip the tanker and they say Saudi oil. It's Russian oil in the water. It becomes Saudi oil, and then they sell it to the Americans. And now they want to sell it to China.
They could create this narrative about how NATO is going to put pressure on Russia, but Russia's going to be dealing with India. They're going to be dealing with China, two economic powerhouses, right? China's an economic powerhouse. India is an economic powerhouse, right?
No, this is a hilarious part. They're not communist countries anymore. Russia is considered a capitalist country from that side, and their competition. Basically, China and Russia are the American competition, right? They're three superpowers, and they're competing with each other to be the apex.
You're a smart guy, Suleiman.
They're not communists. Look,
you look at things objectively. You're not buying this United States propaganda.
The five communist countries. If you Wikipedia or anybody, it's going to be Cuba, which is embargoed half to death, right? They don't give them an opportunity. It's 86% black Marxists. Okay, the state atheist is 86%. And then North Korea, which is also embargoed, right? These are state atheists, the state atheist countries. What's the other country? China is a state atheist country, but it's capitalist, okay? Which is a competition. And you got two more, Vietnam and Laos. These only 5 countries. Russia is not included. And when you say that to people, when I say that to people, do you know Russia have a communist party, but the communist party is not in effect. And by the way, say, but Putin's a communist. Well, Putin is, by the way, they start accusing Putin of being a communist.
He's not a communist.
He's not a communist, right? So I don't understand that. And hilarious part, like Albania, when it was communist, Albania it distanced stuff from Russia and from China because they were becoming competition for America. That's why they isolated themselves. And then they didn't want to get no loans, because what happened with these countries is the Western countries, they go to these small countries and they want to give you loans. You understand?
Oh yeah.
So right away, the little countries, they don't want to deal. They have too much on their plate already. They don't want some big country to give you a loan and put more debt on me. And that's what NATO's doing. NATO goes to these little countries, or Estonia, they don't even have a money for a military. They're paying 3 to 5% of their GDP to NATO to provide them for protection. They don't have a I don't think they have a huge military, Estonia. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they moving missiles over there to protect them from Russia. And I heard that if he does get this Ukraine and puts it to the Russian Federation, he wants Moldova next. That's what they're saying. That's what the
But
media is
Sula,
saying.
Zelensky's already agreed to three of the four Russian demands. So it this was all for nothing because what did they accomplish from that? What did they accomplish? This is this isn't a popular thing to say, but I blame the U.S. for this because they encouraged this to happen. They kept pumping up Ukraine and egging them and saying, yeah, yeah, they knew this was going to happen and they didn't care because they at the end of the day, what they wanted to do was make money off the sale of the weapons, and they wanted to try to disrupt Russia, and even Biden says he knew the sanctions weren't going to work. The sanctions hurt us just as much as they hurt them,
Yeah, because
right?
they're not forgetting this. The Russians are forgetting that China's watching this. Everybody's watching this. They know that America right away when they hit Venezuela they sanction them, and then you see this kind of news. Oh, those people are starving. Of course they're starving. You sanction the crap out of them. You know what I'm saying? So right, they can't do that to Russia. He sanctioned them. He expected the Russians to say, "Oh, we're starving over here." They're not starving. They're like, "Okay, you sanctioned us. So what? Okay, you don't want to sell ice cream in my country. You put in the contract for my country in ice cream. So what? I get another ice cream supplier. They, they're not being affected. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm
Too
saying, right?
many countries in this world depend on the wheat and they depend on the oil. And for the US to sit there and think that we're going to hurt that economy, okay, it's temporary. You want to freeze the banks, whatever. But again, China is going to help them. India is going to help them.
And,
Saudi Arabia is going to help
and
them.
on top
And you
of
know
that, and on
why?
top,
This is the trade off. This is the trade off. Russia is going to help China and Saudi Arabia and Iran and India with military, right? With the military, they're going to give them the weapons, right? They're going to give China the oil. They're going to help them out with the wheat, and India and China and Saudi Arabia is going to pump the money back into Russia. And here's the thing: you want to crush the ruble, right? But according to the OPEC deal, if you buy oil from Russia, you're supposed to buy it with American dollars. India and China aren't doing that now. Now they're using the yen, and the yen is worth way more than the friggin' dollar. So
no, and they
again,
got the you remember the thing that said that they canceled from the banks. Now China's providing with that. Like for example, like
exactly.
oh, you sanction me, you say, oh, I can't do no business with the banks with me, right? You said it's some simple transaction thing. The substitute is China. China's doing it now.
That's
So
why they're
so
so that's
basically,
why they're so afraid of China right now because they know China can subsidize the money that they're losing from the US by having all that money frozen.
yeah,
They know that.
and the oil, like I said before, they take the oil, right over in the water, they flip it, they flip it to another country, and now it's Saudi oil. Now it's somebody's else oil. In America, right away, they snatch it up. Okay, fine, no problem. We buy it now. That's how it
The
starts.
longer this war keeps going on, the worse it is for America and the worse it is for Ukraine.
And
It's
isn't Roy Jones a citizen of Russia? He has
yeah,
two dual citizens. So how
yeah.
come he's not saying nothing? How come they told him not to say nothing?
I don't
What
know.
I would like to hear something from him. I would like to hear something from Dennis Lebedev. I would like to see because I want to hear their opinion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
Because
no
they
one from the Russian side in the American media is going to say anything because they don't want to get freaking canceled. They don't want to get criticized. They don't want to get attacked.
and then if you go to Manhattan, you go to Manhattan, right? You go to I mean the city, New York, and let's say you go into the big rich place, right? And you're gonna buy yourself a condo, a duplex condo, or property, or you go to a school, the highest universities, right? The operational school in New York, upstate New York, like Syracuse or those schools like University, a huge amount of the students are Belarusian and Russian. So they're the ones paying these. They go to private colleges and they're paying. So by you sanctioning these countries, you're hurting your economy. You said that before, but America's really feeling the hit because now all these properties. I
It's
mean, right now the
inflation.
COVID,
It's
yeah,
inflation.
all these guys that, oh, I was thinking about buying a condo, but now you're gonna call me an oligarch if I go buy a condo. So now he's keeping that money in his pocket and he's not buying nothing. He's renting. I'm saying. So you basically his sanctions, he shot himself in the own foot with the sanctions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He could have kept neutral, man. He could. I think Biden would have been more respected if Biden would have kept himself neutral or worked something out. Don't sanction him. Even though guy was calling for help, work something out that they could be peaceful. Work something out. Biden could have been a mediator instead of you know what I'm saying? Instead of sanctioning this country, he could have
What
been
it
a
all
mediator.
comes down to, Suleiman, in my opinion, it's the sale of the weapons.
So
The
so to,
sale,
so get back to the boxing.
yeah, let's get back to the box.
Lomachenko and Usyk. They shouldn't be fighting right now. Psychologically, they're not prepared
You
for
don't like it, huh?
us. Not for. I mean, how you gonna fight us for a world championship like a Joshua? Joshua's a monster, bro. How you gonna fight that guy? You beat him. You beat him last time. You boxed him. But now, how you gonna beat a guy like that, man? I don't think he has the mental fortitude for that.
Yeah,
You
it's
know what I'm saying?
crazy.
You know.
It's crazy. Suleiman, thank you for joining me. This was a great conversation. I
Mhm.
respect your opinion. I'm going with Devin Haney. You're going with Cambosis. We're gonna have fun with this one. I'll probably go live during the fight. Maybe I'll have you pop in and out, whatever, depending upon what you're doing. But
Yeah, but the skill asset, man, the stamina. You say everything is going for Haney, man? This guy got hell of a stamina, man. He got the stamina that the punch.
we'll be objective here. I'm gonna break it down. I think Haney has the speed. Gonna give him the edge in speed. I'm gonna give Haney a slight edge in power. I'm gonna give Haney. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say the defense is equal. Defense is even. All right, that's even. Strength, I'm going to give to Cambosis, and stamina, I'm going to give to Cambosis. So,
How about
so
confidence?
it's
Confidence.
that's an
Confidence because
intangible. That's an intangible. That's an intangible.
you sure, but he's fighting his hometown. He's fighting his country. He got his people
Yeah,
with him.
this is.
So that's it.
You're making a great case for Cambosis, Suleiman. You really are.
I like Cambosos, man. Even when he's interviewed the star appeal, okay, after the win, saw how he was walking around, yeah, the way he's being treated, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You know, the way they flipping that WBC belt that Haney got, 1 minute that's a original belt, next minute they saying that he's the undisputed. So
yeah.
I just want to. I know he's thinking about the blueprint. I want to be the next Canelo. That's what he's doing. So yo, man. So thank you for having me on, man. This is your show, beautiful show, man. You guys gotta come and listen to this man show more often, and the Sunday show with Eric what Lorda,
Eric, you got him. You
yeah,
got him.
Eric Lorda, and you guys thank you for having me on, boss. Thank you.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you, man.